Hi, and welcome to the You World Order Showcase podcast. Today we have with us Anne Allen. Anne is an advanced, didn't want to forget that part, advanced grief recovery specialist, Reiki master, speaker, coach, and she's just added dolphin and whale energy healing to her repertoire. We're so excited to have you here, Anne, and find out all about these great modalities that you offer. Thanks for joining us today.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I'm just thrilled to be here. Thank you.
So tell us all about you. How did you get started in this field? Kind of different.
Oh boy. Okay. So that was like 15 years ago. It was when I was still working as a nurse. I was working in a hospital in Southern California.
Mhm.
And one of my colleagues came up to me and he said, Anne, I think you'd make a great grief recovery specialist. I'm going, what? What are you telling me? Never heard of it, right? So we had a little chat, and I said, okay, I'll go do the next training. And I did. And oh boy, all I can say is I wish I had have had that training for all of my nursing career from when I started. The lessons, the skills, the tools that it's given me, life changing. But now at least I get to share that with others. So yeah, 15 years ago.
Life-changing for others, I'm sure
Oh
too,
my
because
gosh.
grief
Yeah,
is one of those things we just don't talk about. It's like
right.
suffer in silence like a good person. So what
Right.
what are your thoughts on that?
Well, there's so much misinformation out there, Jill. That's the problem. People really don't know how to deal with it because it makes us completely uncomfortable, takes us out of our comfort zone, and we really just don't know what to say or do. And then we get to think there's something wrong with us if we're the person grieving, or if we're the person trying to help the person who's grieving, we think there's something wrong with us because everything we say is just either met with a blank look or a smile or, yeah, I'll do that, or I'm fine, I'm okay. And you know, you're not really helping or making a difference. And that makes everybody feel very uncomfortable and inadequate.
So do you mostly work with the person who's going through the grief, or do you also coach people that are dealing with people who are dealing with grief?
Oh, that's a very good question. Most people come to me because they've either had a significant loss or they've had a loss in the past and they're still struggling with. So I primarily work with people who are going through grieving, but anybody who is dealing with helping someone with grief is often triggered by their own grief. So I end up working with them too.
Yeah, I can see how that would happen because we tend to vibrate at the same frequency that those around us vibrate. And so if somebody's
Yeah,
going through trauma, then you're going to start vibrating the same way because we're all vibrational
absolutely.
beings.
Yeah.
Um, and I can see how that would bring up grief in their own life. How do you describe grief?
Oh, thank you for asking that question. I really appreciate that because a lot of us get it in our heads, that's all about death and dying, which of course it is, or divorce, death and divorce. They're the two biggies that I always hear. But if we look at it from the viewpoint that it's actually all of the conflicting, normal and natural emotional responses we have when we have a loss that's significant to us. Now, that's a long roundabout way of saying, if we lose something that's really important to us, we're going to grieve for it, okay? But we're going to have conflicting emotions around it. Usually, there could be sadness, there could be guilt, there could be happiness, there could be regrets, there could be a feeling betrayal, distrust. Many, many things come up around grief. And so we kind of like, well, what's wrong with me? I don't know. Should I be feeling this way? Well, yeah, absolutely. Everything is normal and natural, all the way from, and dare I say it, homicidal rage, please don't act on it, up to ecstasy that a not so loved one has gone, or now you have your life back. And we don't know how to deal with those because we feel conflicted.
And do you find that people that are experiencing grief can feel a lot of the different emotions all at the same time? Like you can be really relieved that someone's gone because they were, taking a lot of your time and energy and resources, and yet still feel tremendous sadness and at the because you're not going to be able to see them anymore? I mean, is that normal?
Absolutely. Thank you. That is a really wonderful question. So let's say, for example, we have somebody who has died from a long battle with cancer, right? They've been suffering, they're in pain, and now they're gone. Okay, they died. Oh my gosh, I'm in such disbelief that they have died, but they're not suffering anymore. But I miss them, but they're not suffering anymore. But they're not in pain, but I miss them and I'm sad. Yes, but now I have my life back. Oh, now I feel guilty. So, yeah, absolutely. And that can go around in our minds and create all kinds of havoc because now we think there's something wrong with us for feeling happy that we have a life back again. I really should be feeling guilty. So yeah, you nailed it. You absolutely nailed it.
And anger is another one of those emotions where we feel bad, and we can feel guilty for feeling angry at
Yes.
a person leaving. Maybe they left us a bunch of debt or a bunch
Okay.
of things that we have to deal with in order
Yes.
to like take care of their estate. And yet we still miss them because we love them, but we're mad.
Yes, exactly. You nailed it. Absolutely. And again, it makes us feel wrong. It makes us feel like there's something wrong with us for feeling that way. Well, here's a news flash, folks. No, it's normal and natural. And I can guarantee you, everyone who goes through the loss of something that's significant to them is going to have emotions somewhat. Not everybody's going to feel the same. There's certainly going to be a lot of repeat emotions in different people, but we all have our own reaction because here's the kicker: every relationship is unique, no exceptions. So that means every person we're going to grieve maybe somewhat similar, but there's going to be a lot of differences as well.
And if you lose several people, you're going to have different reactions to each one, I would assume.
Yes, absolutely. It sounds like you're a bit of an expert about this yourself, Jill.
Just going off of what I've personally experienced, but
But no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
so how do you actually work with people? I mean, what's the mechanics of it?
Oh, good question. So, what I do is not therapy, and I do just want to make a blanket statement here. I have the greatest respect for therapists. I have the greatest respect for support groups. They definitely all have their place in what we do. But what I do is not therapy, it's actually action based steps. I work with people for a specific amount of time, and we do weekly sessions. And what it really is all about is understanding what grief and loss is and what your grief and loss means to you, because nobody else's opinion matters. No matter how much you love someone, their grief is their business because it's their own feelings that they need to be able to deal with. And if we're trying to look at it from a different lens, it doesn't work.
It's probably better to have a coach like you than to just depend on our friends because
Um, yes. Yes. Simply because most people just don't know what to say or do. We're really at a loss. We don't know, if somebody's grieving, it's like, oh my gosh, or what's the first thing you want to do? You want to fix it, right? You want to help them feel better. It's the most natural thing in the world. We want somebody to feel better. So we start looking around in our life lessons tool bag, and it's like, oh, where's my grief tools? Don't have any. Okay, what do I do? Well, what have I heard people say? Oh, yeah, you'll feel better in time. Don't worry, you can always get another dog. Or very sadly, don't worry, you're still young enough, you can have other children. Or don't worry, he wasn't good enough for you. And on it goes. And then, unfortunately, one of the things that is so very, very difficult for people to hear is, and please avoid this at all costs, I know how you feel. Once
oh
we say
no, you
that,
don't.
exactly. But we say it because we don't know what else to say, right? It's like, well, I know how you feel because when my mum died, we're trying to help that person feel like we understand them and can empathize. This is what makes grief so very, very difficult, because we can't feel somebody else's pain. We can't fix it. We can't take it away. We can't make it better. And so we feel completely inadequate, because at the end of the day, grief is completely inconvenient for everybody.
It's so personal. What tips would you have for somebody who's come in contact with a person that is grieving? What what would you say to that person in order to help them beyond, call Anne? Anne can help you. So we definitely want them to do that. But
Yeah.
just, what kinds of things can you say to somebody who is grieving that would be helpful and and make you feel like you're doing something, because everybody wants to be doing something, even if it's wrong. So let's try to help them do it right.
Thank you so much for asking that question. I really appreciate it. And you know, the funny thing is, less is more. Less is more when it comes to this. So, first of all, the number one thing, please just listen. Please just listen to what the person has to say. And I understand there comes a point when you've heard it 50,000 times. And it's like, oh, if I hear that one more time, I understand that. But the most important thing is to just listen. If you're going to offer help, make sure that it's real and that you're not just saying it as something to say. If you say, hey, what do you need? What can I do? Oh, you need to go to the doctor, or you need to go over to, you have appointments. Yes, I'll be there to help you. So whatever you're going to do, follow through with that. Okay. And please understand that if somebody's just had a major loss in their lives, they may not be functioning the way they normally do, because a lot of people walk around in a fog. They go through the motions, and it's like, how did I get in the kitchen? How did I get to the grocery store? I don't remember doing that. So a little grace for them and for you. Give each other some space, and don't try and jump in there and fix it and make it better. Just accept the fact that some people want to talk, some people don't. Some people want a hug, some people don't. Please make sure hugs are okay first. I'm a real hugger, and I'm a, come here, I'll give you a hug kind of thing, but I always ask first, because that's very important as well. And respect the fact that some people might not want to show you their grief. They could be very embarrassed, they could be very upset about it. So those are the most important things. Listen, offer help that's genuine help, that's going to really be of service to them, and give everybody some space. Take a breath and just step back. Give everyone some space.
Wise words, wise words. And very helpful, because, like I said, when you run into somebody who is grieving, obviously, and you just don't know what to do, you'll just
No.
take take those in stride and try practicing that. So I want to hear about the dolphin whaling healing, energy healing, because that is
Oh,
so interesting to me. So
it's
how do you incorporate
fascinating.
that?
Oh, it's fascinating. Well, I've been doing healing energy work for many, many years, and I actually use it as an optional part of the grief recovery too. We do the grief recovery, then we do the energy work. Or for those people who don't like the energy thing, we do life coaching. So that's all included in what I do. But with the dolphin and whale energy healing, it is so amazing and so fun, because as you and I'm sure most of our listeners who have had any kind of introduction to healing energy, it's from source, it's from the universe. But when we're doing dolphin and whale energy healing, of course, their energy comes from source as well, but they are actual beings on this planet. So it's a little different. It brings in a wonderful aspect, and people just love dolphins and whales. Most people are not scared of dolphins. Some might be of whales because of their size. I can certainly understand, but most people react so beautifully to dolphins because they're so friendly and so gentle. And what I love about the dolphin and whale energy just on its own is that they are coming in more and more, and they are making an emphasis on healing our hearts. And that is so important, because, well, we don't need to talk about where the world is. We all know where the world is. But what are we doing moving forward? We're going to be healing our hearts. And that's why I love the grief work, because it heals hearts. And then bringing the dolphin and whale energy healing in also heals hearts as well. So it's very powerful, very profound, very relaxing. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful modality. And I'm very, very honored and grateful to be able to do it.
So how does it work practically? Do you take them to the beach and
It's so funny. People ask me.
I'm curious.
Well, actually, I could. Yeah, sure. We could go to the beach anytime. Great. I'd love to go to the beach with people. In fact, I'd love to. I live in Vancouver, Washington. I'm not really by, I guess I'm by the Columbia River, but I'm not too sure about going into that. But no, basically, it is all done as distant healing. I do all of my sessions online, and it's just really about taking the people into a safe space, getting them into that relaxed space, and then they channel through me, and then I share with them what I'm receiving. And I've seen them do things with bodies, with body parts. I've seen them scan. I've seen them roll back things on a cellular level. It's just incredible. Just incredible.
Not what I expected at all. I have to tell you.
No, no.
It sounds
Well,
more like the Akashic journey that I went on,
well,
Akashic Records journey. Like,
it's look, for every person, it's different. I also work with couples, people who want to heal their heart connections. You know, if there's been a conflict or mistrust or something like that, or groups of 3 to 5 people as well.
mhm.
Yeah, and of course one-on-one, but with the emphasis of healing the heart connection. So yeah, it's very powerful and very interesting. It's different.
It sounds fascinating.
Yeah,
I'm all about the woo. So
yeah. Well, me too. Me too.
it's-
Yeah.
and grief is kind of an interesting topic in terms of the woo because it's about energy and
Mhm.
that everybody has certain energies and when you lose things you're losing them in the reality that you've created for yourself, but they're not really gone. Nothing disappears. It just disappears from your reality, but it doesn't disappear from existence. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm all about the connection to beyond. But I do want to make it very clear, because some people come to me and they have no interest in energy work whatsoever. So
Mhm.
the grief recovery that I do is very, very educationally presented. It has no sense of woo unless that is a person, and then we integrate that into it. But yes, I love to go beyond and look at the connection, because it's never really gone. But you know, it depends on the person's belief. As a matter of fact, I've just been approached to write a short story about mediumship for animals, and I've a couple of wonderful um, examples of my own kitty who died, and how she came back, and she hijacked a podcast, and she she used an oak tree down in Sedona. I mean, you know, they will find a way to come through and tell us that they're there, get the message across.
Yeah, I've experienced it personally when my own mom passed, and we had some difficulties in our relationship, and um, she came back, and it was like all better. I, like all the struggles that we'd gone through in our life together here, um, had just like totally disappeared. And she came like 3 or 4 times to me in a dream, and then she left. She's like,
Yeah,
"I'm okay. You're okay.
yeah. And
Enjoy your life."
it's different when they come back, because they're coming
Hmm.
from a different point of view. You know, they're in a different space, a different realm, if you were. um, and
Hmm.
I do mediumship too, so I do have people that come through. I have animals. If I'm working with people with pet loss, oftentimes the animals will come through, but only if that
Hmm.
person is open, you know, to it. But I find most of the people that come to me are very open to energy, and to, you know, the possibilities that exist beyond beyond. But yeah, they'll, have horses over my shoulder or dogs, or they'll come and sit on my desk in front of me. And yeah, so they like to be heard, and they will use any way that they can to come through and to get us a message, whatever that might be.
Yeah, and even if you don't think that you believe in all of these things, you do suddenly find that there's stuff you can't explain happening.
Oh yeah.
And it's like you're welcome to deny it if you want.
Right, right. Well, I myself, like I said, I've been aware of energy and all of this for many years, and there came a point where it was just so much, and I just wasn't ready for it. So I said, "That's it. It's an all or nothing thing," and I blacked it out. And then, for like 10 or so years, nothing, because that was my choice. But then you get that little tap, and then you get the little tap further up, until it's going, "Hello, anybody in there?" It's time to wake up again. So yeah, there comes a point where you just can't ignore it, and for whatever reason, you have to step up and do what you're here to do.
Do you feel like, as we're both older women, so as you've gotten older, it's just been like, okay, I've ignored this long enough. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm stepping into it, and
Mhm,
we'll see where this goes.
mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And I can embrace that more now, because we still have fears and doubts and everything, obviously, because we're human. Otherwise we wouldn't be here. um, but yeah, I think for a lot of people it's finding their purpose. When I'm working with people with life coaching, it's everybody wants to know what their purpose is, and it's, well, what's my passion, what's my purpose? And most of us know what brings us alive, but for me, I found myself constantly asking source, well, am I supposed to be doing the grief recovery? Am I supposed to be doing the healing? What am I supposed to be doing? So, I just end up doing what feels good. And it's always been those two, the grief recovery and the healing, because they really, I often find myself jumping up and down my chair. I warn my clients before they work with me, I'm going to get really passionate about this. But yeah, it's one of those things that I think I will be doing for the rest of my life. And my goal now is to actually retire in 2 years and to travel the world and be of service, to be boots on the ground, when there's a natural disaster, to be able to use, although I don't currently, I'm not currently nursing, but to use my background for that, and to use the grief recovery, be able to go on site and help people in whatever way I can.
What kind of nurse were you?
A bit of everything. I worked with transplant people. I worked with HIV. Oh my gosh, that was so humbling and so beautiful. I saw so many beautiful examples of real love when I was working with the HIV people. General nursing, yeah, it's just very, very interesting. I've been in the health field for over 40 years. I started
Yeah,
young.
that's you must have been in the 80s,
70s. I was, yeah,
70s and 80s.
I started when I was 17.
I know that the really bad part of the AIDS epidemic happened in the 80s, and
Yes,
it was
yes, it was, yeah. I,
it
I
was really horrible, but I think because we didn't have the internet back then, not as many people, or at least not the young people, don't realize how how much impact it had on really the whole world.
oh, absolutely. I'm from New Zealand originally, but I was living in Australia at the time, and I was nursing, and I was doing what we call district nursing there, which is home health nursing here. And HIV had just hit the scene. And I'm going to tell you, I was there in it and dealing with patients with it. And there was so much fear. And I don't blame people, because, yeah, good and bad that we have the internet, because, yes, there's good and bad things that are, circulated through that. But we had people gowning up in hazmat gear because they didn't know how it was spread. And then
Right.
I was dealing with a population of homosexual gentlemen, and unfortunately, they were targeted because everybody thought it was a gay disease. Well, that's not the case. Yeah, that might have been how it was spread, but if we have a look at how the main demographic in the world today, it's quite different. And I would just like to make this public service announcement. It's still out there. Please do not think it's gone away. Please do not
Yeah.
think it's okay to have unprotected sex. Please, I beg of you, just understand it's still there and it's still just as significant. Yes, we have treatments for it, but it's still there. And it's
Yeah.
still,
And it's still destroying lives. And
yes, and still has a stigma around it.
yeah,
Very sad, very
yeah.
sad.
Talking about grief.
Yeah, well, yes, definitely. Yes.
So don't bring grief on your friends and loved ones. Protect yourself.
Yes, please, at all costs. All it is, all you need is a condom and some common sense. Go out and have a fabulous, fulfilling sex life, but just be safe for everybody. Think of everybody, not just yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And not even just your partner. It's the people that you're going to meet in the future and your children and your families because
Absolutely.
everybody's involved.
Hmm?
You might think you're alone, but you're not.
Absolutely.
All right. And I got to ask you about the skydiving because I think that's just like so amazing.
Well, it took a bit of courage to do it, but it was one of the, I've only done it the one time, and yes, I would like to do it again, but I figured, it was probably one of my biggest fears, and I'm all about facing fears, and I make myself do stuff. and, and at the time I was riding my motorcycle, and I thought, you know what, I better not ride my motorcycle there and do it, because what if I fall and hurt myself and break my ankles? So, because I wanted to be a full-on, adrenaline packed, revving up the bike going there, and I thought, well, we better just dial that back because I might, I could injure myself. So I took my car. But I figured it this way: when you jump out of a plane, you got no worries in the world. You are not worrying about, did I pay my electric bill? You are not worrying about where's the money coming from, or anything like that. It's just, it's incredible freedom. It's the most, when you're free falling. Oh my gosh! And now nothing's fast enough for me. I've been zip lining and all this. It's nothing's fast enough once you've gone skydiving. So it kind of ruined you for that. But yeah, it's a fun thing to
I
do.
can't even begin to imagine.
And I got the pictures to prove it.
Oh my God. I don't think I'd have the presence of mind. I don't think I'd be conscious. If I came out of an airplane, I would black out. It just like,
Be amazed. Give yourself some grace around it. You'd be amazed, because here's the thing: on this planet, we are used to falling into something or to enter into something, right? But when you're
mhm,
in a plane and you're about to fall out of the plane,
mhm.
nothing there is to catch you. And it's the most liberating, scary, exhilarating, frightening experience ever, because it's not something we experience every day. And it might just be a good thing.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
not.
I'll save that for the next go around.
We got no takers today.
Nope, nope. My son did it, but I'm just thinking that's a no-go for me.
Well, it's amazing. I just woke up one day and did it. You might too, who knows? But
Who knows?
yeah, you never know. Never shut the door on possibilities.
Yeah, not a probability, but it is still a possibility.
There you go. That's a good attitude.
So, Anne, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, I believe you're going to be posting my information down there. So the best way they can get in touch with me is really just, hey, give me a call. Okay. 360-721-3433. And I always pick up the phone if I'm not with a client or otherwise engaged. Or they can also go to my site there, which you have down there, Healing Life
Mhm.
and Grief, as dot me. Yes, as dot me. and then you can see what services I offer. There's all kinds of things on there. But yeah, that's the best way to get in touch with me.
And finally, what's the one thing you want to leave the audience with today?
Oh, thank you for asking that question. Please don't stay stuck in your grief. It is a life half lived.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining me today. This has been a marvelous conversation.
Oh, fantastic. Excuse me. Thank you so much for having me, Jill. I love it. I've loved talking with you. Thank you for all the wonderful questions. Thank you very much.